So please tell me about GlobalMed and its connection to telehealth. What role does the company play?
Okay, very good. GlobalMed is a company that is really at the forefront of what we call the new generation of healthcare delivery.
Mhm.
We see technology being so important in the delivery of care, no matter where the patient is and no matter where the doctor is.
Mhm.
Um, if, if I were to look back just only a few years ago when the VA was providing care only through their 154 hospitals, veterans had to travel sometimes hundreds of miles to actually get care,
Mhm.
to be seen by a doctor for 10 minutes or 15 minutes for primary care or a specialty situation. Today, the VA has 851 operating community-based outpatient centers around the U.S., all the way to Guam and also in the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, any of their territories, any of the U.S. territories and the U.S., they provide care to their patients. That program has been so successful, Bernie, that they literally have eliminated the copay for veterans
Mhm.
when seen through the technology.
And how you brought up this particular example because GlobalMed is obviously involved in this.
Yes, the GlobalMed technology is the base platform and the base systems that allow for this to happen in the C-Box and to the hospitals and to their specialists. But outside the VA, many different organizations, household names in healthcare, utilize GlobalMed technology for stroke, for primary care. So whether it's a Mayo Clinic that has us in 15 sites,
Mhm.
or if it's UPMC that uses us in an ophthalmology program, uh, and others inside the U.S., but also outside the U.S., throughout Latin America, Southeast Asia, Europe, and Africa, we put in systems that allow, again, the new generation of healthcare delivery where the doctor and the patient aren't necessarily in the same place at the same time,
Mhm.
but yet quality care is delivered, lowering the costs by providing care with the doctor not having to travel, without the patient having to travel, improving the outcomes because that access is delivered at the right time.
So this is happening today.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm wondering if you've perhaps taken a look at, say, 10 years from now, how this might evolve.
Well, I have said for a number of years that as my youngest child gets into junior high, and he's now 8 years old, that if in fact he complains to my wife that he has a sore throat,
Mhm.
shouldn't go to school today, my wife will pull out her smartphone, literally put it and face it into his mouth as he opens up, get those images, push a button, talk to the school nurse or a nurse that may be provided to several schools at a call center.
Mhm.
And the nurse will look at my son's throat, look at his temperature, look at other parts of his well-being at that point in time, and tell my wife, you know what, I think you need to keep him home because we don't want to bring him to school.
That's
And,
great.
and we literally, let me see, once Dr. Gonzalez is his pediatrician, and she hits a button on her smart device or her laptop, sending those images and her consultation to his pediatrician, and she may say, pick up a prescription at your local pharmacy.
So
That's where I see it
we'll
going.
be much more connected even than we are today.
Absolutely.
Much more. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's happening right now. You just saw yesterday here at the show that the DoD won a very prestigious award for providing this type of technology for sexual abuse and having all those algorithms built into a smart device that allow a patient or someone that has been in a horrible situation to get care immediately or when they really desire to have counseling.
So I'm wondering, as you imagine this 10 years from now, just now, how do you see Global Med fitting into this?
Well, today as a company, we provide care pre literally before you get to an urgent care or an emergency room. Inside the emergency room or urgent care, we have our technologies. Inside the hospital, we have our technologies. We have it in the skilled nursing facilities and also the long-term care. Well, the one area that we really are bringing together to bring the full continuum of care together is the home side, when you go home after the hospital, to keep you out of going back to the hospital, to really keep the healthcare professionals informed to your well-being as you are maybe recovering, or maybe you have a chronic side issue. And so we really are looking to provide the complete continuum of care. And I think in the next 5-10 years, you will see us, GlobalMed, being literally a very big part of the healthcare delivery system.
Well, another thing that we talked about a little bit earlier was, as its name implies, Global Med. You were discussing that healthcare is global. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Part of what we, from our very beginning, our company is 12 years old. We have a little over 110 people. Our goal is to help and create that connectivity from the person that needs care and the person that can give that care. And we do it on a global basis. The company's name is GlobalMed because we literally provide care, and we don't provide care, we provide the delivery systems globally. So whether you are part of the VA, or you are part of Mayo, or you're part of an oil company and an oil rig in the middle of the Adriatic Sea, or it really doesn't matter, in the oil fields of Bangladesh, in the mining of Peru, literally anywhere where there is a need for health care, we provide solutions. And so I was sharing with you before we went on camera just the fact that we'll talk to investors, we'll talk to other companies in the space, and they really are focused on the U.S. market, what the U.S. market can bring. And we've never really looked strictly at the U.S. market. We believe that healthcare is a global issue, and it is. And we go out and we seek out and we provide solutions to all these different entities around the world because it is a global issue.
Well, I know you work hard to make this happen, you and your company do. But if you had one wish to think about one thing that would move that goal forward, what would help?
I think in the U.S. and even outside, the regulatory environment can be very challenging. I was recently talking to one of the largest companies in the space that has a very robust regulatory department. They're a billion-dollar provider of technologies to healthcare. And one of the things that they shared with me about a lot of the companies in telemedicine is that they don't take the regulatory side seriously. They don't have the right certifications here in the U.S. nor outside for HIPAA and high tech, for FDA, for ISO. And so as a company, GlobalMed, we are ISO 13485 certified. That's a medical device manufacturer. So everything that we do has process. For FDA, we have many different 510Ks for all of our products. For HIPAA and high tech, we have complete coverage on our systems to make sure that the customer is well protected, not only here in the U.S., but globally. And I think that is a big challenge for small companies. Yesterday in the keynote, I shared that there are so many small companies here within ATA, and they have great innovation. A lot of them have wonderful innovation, and they have to take FDA seriously. They have to take Invisa in Brazil. They have to take Cofifreeze in Mexico. They have to take these very serious if they want to get their products to market, and it can be daunting and it can be very expensive. The other part is the device tax. So as a medical device company, on our top line, 2.3% of our top line, we have to pay to the federal government. Now that, for a company of our size, is a lot of money, and it can be egregious in some respects. The small companies that don't make a lot of money, or they're not even in profitability yet, can you imagine adding another 2.5%, 2.3% on the top line that they have to write a check because they sold some of their first products? I think that's a real challenge, and I hope that our legislature at least looks at the small companies that are pre-profits to give them a chance. Now, we're past that zone, and so we pay and happily pay.
And bear with it.
And bear with it. But I
Yeah.
think it's over egregious to the small companies that are still not in profitability.
Yeah, so it's something that you figure they should look at least, or
I
reconsider.
I hope Congress looks
Yeah.
at that, yes.
Okay, any final words that perhaps I haven't asked you about that you would like to comment on?
I'll just say that I read your information online religiously, and I thank you for what you're doing to just broaden the awareness of what's happening IT-wise within healthcare. So thank you,
All right, I
Bernie.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.